So what's going on, guys? I'm Black Ops Amazing. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another Zombies Q&A on the channel, the series where I take your questions from the comment section below to do with zombie storyline, Easter eggs, and I answer them. As always, if you're going to enjoy today's video, you know what to do. Drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. But without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go, and enjoy. So the first question of the day is from Ghost, and you say, "Hey BOA, I got a question. Why do the zombies characters only drink a mouthful or half of a Perk bottle and then throw it away? Love the videos, keep it up." So whenever one of our characters purchases a drink from the Coca-Cola machines, you will notice they take just a tiny sip out of the bottle, and then, as you say, throw it away. They never drink all of the beverage, but since they still get the powers from the drink by just having a sip, there's really no need for them to drink all of it. So why would they if they don't have to? I guess it is a bit of a waste. We know the perks were made by different people such as Group 935 or Division 9. Dr. Monty also helped as well. Why would they make them such big drinks if you only need to have a sip? I don't know. It's kind of a strange question, but it is a valid one. I can't really give you a good answer. I don't know if there is one, but I would say since just taking a sip gives us the power, there's no need to drink all of it. The next question of the day from Ivan says, "Hey BOA, how did the bus from Tranzit survive if everything else was destroyed? How did the bus driver know about the zombies?" So there are two different questions there. Answering your first one about how the bus survived after the Earth was destroyed. Well, in the Canorium it tells us on October the 13th, 2035, Stuhlinger bumps into Russman, who was stolen a bus from an abandoned Broken Arrow facility. This was a whole 10 years after the rockets hit Earth. The bus was still working after all that time, but it was locked up in an abandoned Broken Arrow facility. It wasn't outside rusting or wasting away. It was inside of a building that, by the sounds of it, was still intact. Not everything was destroyed. Not every little building or object was turned to rubble or ash. A lot of things did make it out on the other side. Then again, a lot of things were destroyed. But the bus survived the destruction of the Earth because it was locked in an abandoned facility. It doesn't tell us which Broken Arrow facility it was in, whereabouts it was located, and that also links into Ted because we know he was created by Broken Arrow. One of Ted's main job on the bus was to transport Broken Arrow employees from facility to facility. They programmed him for that reason, along with many others. And that also links nicely into your second question where you say, how did the bus driver know about the zombies? Well, this one's a little bit more difficult. We know Ted has his own personality. When he was created, he was programmed with emotions. He's able to almost think for himself. And if we take a look at the blueprints we can find on Ted, we can see when they were designing him, they come up with multiple ideas. On the right it tells us he was intended for Hanford Campus 4, which might be Transit. We know the map itself is located in Hanford and Broken Arrow did have facilities around there. But on the notes section it also says, request for skin to cover robotic exterior. Test trials have employees frightened at appearance. Needs to be more approachable and friendly. You have to admit, in Transit, Ted doesn't look like the nicest robot, although one of the main reasons for that is his prosthetic skin was burnt off when the rockets hit Earth. It also says who programmed it with emotions and why. They need to be removed before line operations. I think it's safe to say Ted's emotions were never removed. He wasn't supposed to have them, but for some reason they were left in. It also says early tests reveal prototype behaving inappropriately with employees. And when Victors get on the bus in Transit, we experience this for ourselves. Ted tells them, well, I think you know what he says. He's very rude. And then it also says on here, behaviours include using explicit language with employees, threatening employees, kicking employees off the bus, locking bus doors and refusing entry, skipping stops, unwanted sarcasm, and opinions. So yeah, he's a very interesting character. Going back to your question, how does he know about the zombies? That doesn't entirely explain it. Does him having emotions means he knows about zombies? He seems to at times be aware of what's around him, and then other times he doesn't. For example, in Transit, when you arrive at one of the stops like Diner, he will say it's a totally different location. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that one in the comment section below. The next question from James Molnar says, "Hey BOA, I have a question. On 5 in the intro cutscene in BO1, there is a ray gun inside of the weapons locker that JFK opens. Just wondering why it's there." So taking a look at the 5 intro cutscene, we can see when the zombies are about to break into the Pentagon, JFK reveals a hidden weapons locker behind the wall, and we see multiple different guns. We have the crossbow, the Bowie knife, the Dragunov, the Python, the Commando, the China Lake, the RPK. There's a few SMGs and other weapons there as well, but the main one is the ray gun. That's the one that stands out because all of those other weapons you would expect him to have, but the ray gun, maybe not. 5 is a zombies map. We do play as JFK and the other characters. They are involved in the zombies storyline, so it's not that weird. In fact, in 5 we can see the ray gun in the basement being taken apart in the labs. We do know the Americans stole it and decided to work on it themselves to create their own version. So it was a weapon that they did have in the Pentagon, and since JFK was also in the Pentagon, maybe it's actually not too weird to suggest it's a weapon he would have on him. After all, it's probably the most powerful out of all of those in his locker. If the Americans are creating their own version, why wouldn't the president be given one? I don't know. There was also other weapons. We can find the Winter's Howl in the labs as well. The Americans were creating their own version of that, as well as the Wunderwaffe and Group 935's teleporters. So who knows, maybe JFK had his hands on them as well. I think if the intro cutscene was for the campaign, then we could question it a little bit more, but JFK is involved in our zombie storyline. The ray gun was being worked on in the Pentagon, so I don't think it's too out of the ordinary, especially not after some of the things we've witnessed in zombies. The next question from Rodrigo says, when Ultimus took the teleporter from location to location, has there been more than one location area like there was in Call of the Dead? And the answer is yes. The other one being Kino der Toten. Ultimus were never meant to travel there. In fact, Richthofen didn't even know of its existence. So when he teleported there accidentally, he was surprised. Maxis never told him about Kino. We know that teleportation happened where in Derice they were attempting to teleport to their next location, which I believe off memory would have been Call of the Dead to collect the Vril device. That was the map that would have come after Derice if everything went right, but it didn't because when they were in the teleporter, they accidentally shot the Wunderwaffe DG2. That overloaded the teleporter, sending them through space and time to Kino. When they arrived there, Richthofen then realised he lost his diary and so had to travel to Ascension to recover it. And then after he got it, he could continue with his mission, which was Call of the Dead. So really, if that mistake never happened, Kino and Ascension wouldn't have been necessary locations for them to go to. But of course, it's all a part of the cycle. As you say, in Call of the Dead there was a location error, although not quite the same because they did intend to go there, but they got the coordinates slightly wrong and were teleported behind a locked door. Hence why we play as the Call of the Dead cast, because Ultimus can't do anything. Other than that though, the only other mistake I can seem to remember is Classified, where if we go over to the intro cutscene, we can see, once again, this time when the crew are in Shangri-La, Dempsey shoots the baby maker at the teleporter, which again overloads it and sends them to the Pentagon. This is a part of the broken cycle, but that's why we play as Ultimus in Classified, because Dempsey made a mistake in Shangri-La, which sent them here. Anyway guys, there we go, that is it. That is all I have for you for today's video. As always, hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have, you know what to do. Drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, goodbye.